Here we have the Papo Fantasy two-headed red dragon, model number 38935. As you can see, it's an impressive figure. It comes painted as you see in this video. The dimensions are 20 centimeters from tip of tail to the tip of that flame point. So you can see one of the heads has actually got a rather large animated painted flame coming out of the mouth. From wingtip to wingtip across, it's about just over 21 centimeters, and the total height of the figure is about 12 centimeters. And what I'm going to do is to put that scale into context by bringing to fore other figures, other toys, etc., so that you've got a more familiar scale to work with. And we're going to start with a fantasy setting. And here we have the two-headed red dragon within a Dwarven Forge Hellscape set. As you can see on the table, there are also a bunch of 25 and 28mm characters for scale. As you can see, the dragon's got a bit of a challenge on its hand because the party is split up. But I think this dragon's got quite a ferocity with the flaming breath weapon and the overall scale working on its side. Pretty decent, impressive dragon. I'm going to just put one of the characters right in front of it now, just so you get an idea. So here we've got this rather brave bard who's been looking up at the actual dragon itself. I'm going to put it literally right by his belly. And as you can see, that's quite a feast for that dragon. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Let's try and zoom in on the actual figure there. I'm going to zoom right in so you can see how he would fare against the dragon that he's looking up to. So I think it might be 2 bites for the dragon to eat that 28mm character, but I think certainly it would go inside that dragon's belly and make for a decent meal. And now you can see the dragon with some toys so that you can really appreciate the scale. And what we have here on the very left is a Playmobil figure. We then have, going from the left to the right, one of the 25-28mm painted fantasy figures that you saw in the video section just earlier. The very, very foreground we have a Hexbug Nano. We then have a minifig Stormtrooper and Chewbacca Star Wars figure. And then of course we have a Gandalf Lego figure. And I think the Lego figures work particularly well. On the very, very far right we have a rather larger Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. As you can see by the scale, I don't think he's going to have too much of a challenge to defeat that ferocious dragon in this particular instance. Now, as you can see, Papo have the CE safety mark, and they have a red dash going through a 0 to 3 years old, so this is a toy for 4 years old and above. And because of the not just because of the ferocity of the dragon, but because, as you can imagine, there are some slightly sharp parts to plastic of the dragon, the horns of the dragon, etc. And although it's plastic, there's the risk of being scratched if being played with too roughly against the children's skin. One other comment I'm going to just add is that the actual flame coming out of that head can be a little bit loose, and it's up to you whether you think there's a risk that that might come off during play and whether you want to trim that off. It's a very simple job, and if you trim it right down into the mouth of the dragon, it doesn't lose anything as a figure, because absolutely it's as you can see, a very good detailed head, and it's you can imagine the dragon cry, and flame can be imagined as well as in this case brought to life with a bit of plastic, painted plastic, and a neat trim in the back of the mouth, and you really can't notice that it's missing. So as a parent, do decide whether you wish to keep the flame or not at an early stage, because there is a slight risk that that could be pulled out and possibly more damage created to the toy. And I think it would last longer without the flame if the child is particularly young, and it all depends on the person playing with the figure and how the figure is being used. So I hope you found this useful. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment.